Actually, can you hear me if I... Okay, cool. Okay. Where to start on talking about a man who did so much living and loving over 81 years? I decided just to talk about my favourite memories and observations of Dad, starting off with such a ridiculously fun and adventurous childhood. Sean and I really hit the jackpot with the family we were born into. I'm sure most of you here who were in our orbit in the 70s, 80s and 90s came to at least one party at Club Med Altona. I mean, what a party house, full of party people. It's a miracle we didn't have any drownings or cracked heads in the pool from coming off the half-inflated waterbed bladder that we used to sit on and have someone jump on the other end to catapult us into the air. A miracle. We had a tandem bike at one stage with a baby seat on the back. Dad on the front, Sean in the middle, and I got a free ride on the back. I loved all the looks and waves we got as we took to the streets of Altona. All attention seekers, a lot of us. We had many great trips in our camper van. So many dramas too, but no time to go into that. We bought a solarium one year when we couldn't travel to Surfers Paradise for the September holidays to work on our base tans for the upcoming summer. It's very important in the Reid family to maintain a good tan. A dermatologist I saw a few years ago was absolutely astounded when I told him about this. But, I mean, we didn't really know how bad it was back then. We kind of did, but not so much. Now the gambling. It was encouraged from a very young and inappropriate age. But maybe that's not a bad thing, as you learned that you would win some but lose a lot more. And therefore, it was never going to be a problem for me. Who remembers our poker machine? We still don't really know where Dad got it, but it was in our house long before it was legal, and it was kept under a blanket in a dark room, and anyone who we showed it to had to swear their silence. It's very serious. We had regular games of pontoon after dinner, using the plastic counters from Mum's school as our chips, colour-coded for value. Every memory of Dad involving the beach is a cherished one. As long as we were in the surf, life was good. The times we spent in lawn, even after they sold the house. Magic hour walks along the pier after dinner. Such a simple, cherished ritual. Leon, the girls and I loved spending so many holidays with Mum and Dad. And the last interstate one we had in Newcastle was so great. And they finally got to take Indy to Tamworth as they'd long hoped. We celebrated our 50th and 80th together, as we did our 30th and 60th. With a nice long weekend in a great house down the Great Ocean Road. I'm so glad that some of my childhood memories were replicated with my own girls. My parents instilled in them a love of ABBA, leading to our funniest home videos win that Dad featured in. A love of music, nature, comedy and film. Indy's love language was in the trivia, the culture and other cerebral things. Annie's was card games, sports and cuddles. I swear every photo I've seen of them over the last week, it's as if they're Siamese twins. They were inseparable. He was a man of extremes. He could go from making the dumbest of dad jokes to using the most superfluous of vocabulary to demonstrate his intellectual superiority. He was best friends with everyone from the crossing attendant at the kids' primary school to the most well-respected doctors at the Epworth. He was an agitator, taking great delight in pushing all my buttons first thing in the morning to set me off. He claimed I was not a morning person, but I swear nobody else has ever made this observation of me but him after he'd pushed my 10th button. On the flip side of this though, he was also a healer, a qualified kinesiologist and a regular hospital visitor to those having their worst times. He was a frustrated nudist, but then he was always down for a good dress-up party. And on the fashion front, there were some big hits and some tragic misses. This jacket I'm wearing today is a tribute to that side of him. I couldn't resist, especially after I saw the unicorn on the back. And that's what Mum referred to him as he beat so many odds over the last 6 years. He had a saying and a catchphrase for most occasions, many of which were carried on from Albie, his dad, and which I plan on continuing into the next generation. The kids know that the cart does not move until I say, and away, and they say, we go. I just have one more story that epitomises my life as Ken Reid's daughter. When I was in grade 6, my teacher was the lovely Brendan O'Brien, who used to live next door to us for a time in Grief Parade. One day, when he made fun of me in front of the entire class, I broke down and cried. He took me out of the class to have a little chat to me, but basically the gist of that chat was, I thought you could take it. I know what your dad's like. He had a wonderful life. He would attest to that. It was so great to be such a close and special part of that life. There's a lot of sadness in losing him, and he's going to leave a giant hole. But my overwhelming feeling is gratitude. I am just so grateful that he was my dad and I got to share that life with him. Thanks, my darling dad, Kenny.